Hello, my fellow Extraordinary Americans. I'm Cosmos Dar, and this is Extraordinary America. What is Extraordinary America about? You see, American identity is about freedom, the opportunity for a better life, and the pursuit of happiness. Welcome to Extraordinary America. For today's guest, we have Adam Goldman, the nation's top franchise coach and consultant. Adam Goldman knows that even with well-paying jobs, there's one major problem in corporate America, and that is you can't pursue your own dreams while working for somebody else. Franchising has allowed Adam, a father of three, to achieve his own dreams. Over the past 7 years, Adam has helped hundreds of people to change their lives through the franchise business ownership. He helps others find the right franchise for them and goes on to match them with the right opportunity in their area. During his 20-year career as a business investor and franchise consultant, Adam has founded 3 successful companies on 2 continents. These include an IT company in Poland and a real estate investment company in Texas. Most recently, he grew the Vanguard Cleaning Area Developer concept in Houston into a multi-million-dollar enterprise, generating over 30 franchises and 300 customers, which he has now sold. In his latest book, The Franchise Lifestyle, Adam interviews existing franchisees from diverse backgrounds about their own journeys into independence. Demystifying the world of franchising, his book provides invaluable insights into the key factors that can make or break a franchise deal, helping readers avoid potential pitfalls and make informed decisions, as well as the unique benefits and opportunities that come with being part of a well-established brand. He's an extraordinary American, and I'm glad and honored to have him on the show. Adam, are you there?
I am. Thank you so much, Cosmos. Great to see you.
Great to see you as well. Adam, can you tell me, the audience, a little bit more about your story, your background, and how you got started?
So I've always been an entrepreneur and always been a patriot, right? So my first gig was a paper route back when people actually read newspapers, right? I loved it and loved selling subscriptions, and one thing led to another, and always loved working for myself. In college, I found this interesting niche in that credit card companies would pay a lot per application, and college students would actually apply for credit cards in exchange for a 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew, right? And that was an amazing niche that I found. And what I would say is that in 2008, my whole relationship with franchises kind of started. I had started investing in real estate, and I found that by 2009, 2010 came along, the deals were kind of drying up. And so went ahead and spoke with a franchise coach and kind of stumbled in the franchising world, where I invested in an office cleaning master franchise, built that up over the course of 8.5 years, got
Mhm.
an unsolicited offer to sell my business, and kind of stumbled into coaching and consulting. And really have loved that journey since then, right? I've been doing this now for over 8 years, and I'm here as a coach or connector, or I almost liken myself to being Match.com or eHarmony, but for the franchising world, just connecting really interesting, aspiring people that want to invest in franchises with great brands that are pre-screened, that are in 75 different industries.
So, Adam, this is very interesting how you got over here. So, like, what was like your strategic vision and goal you had, like, since like the beginning, or like, or what made you get towards the franchise industry versus anything else?
So for me, I buy into the idea because I really believe the average entrepreneur, there are different types of entrepreneurs, Cosmos. One type is the person that just loves starting things and loves process. I've never been that guy. I've never been the process guy. I've been a great implementer of someone else's process, right? And
Mhm.
so I was really attracted to the idea of having a business model. I really think of it as being riding a bike as an entrepreneur, but having training wheels as well. And kind of that's what got me excited about franchises back in 2010, so 15 years ago plus. What I would also say is that it's just the scalability of franchises were appealing as well. I know of people in the industry that have 1, 3, 5, 10, 100 units open, right? So that's for the right brand, that's really a powerful place to be.
So Adam, a lot of people like they want to be successful in business and everything, but like, and they whenever they think of franchise model, they think of like McDonald's or like a Wendy's or something like that. But for like the viewership, right? Could you explain to them like what the basic concepts of a franchise model is and how it actually works, so that they get a better idea of this type of business?
I'm so glad you brought up the idea of a McDonald's or Wendy's, right? Because there's a misconception in my industry that franchises are only fast food restaurants, right? And so I have lots of things besides fast food. I have businesses that are non-brick and mortar businesses, service companies, right? I have brands that are in 75 different industries. And when I explore franchises with my candidates, we're less focused on the actual it works best with people that have an open mind, and we're less focused on the actual industry and more focused on business characteristics, right? How many employees, what kind of employees, how involved people want to be in the industry. That's really what I'm focused upon. In essence, Cosmo, what I would say is that franchise or Cosmos, it's franchises are you're buying in exchange for franchise fees and royalty fees. You're getting a brand and you're also getting a process, right? You're getting a McDonald's Golden Arches and you're getting Hamburger University. That's what franchises are.
So Adam, like one of the things that comes to my mind is that a lot of people like they end up starting these small businesses and then they get stuck in it's almost like they like got stuck in like a job that a self-made job of their own. Like they're not able to exit. But it seems like a franchise model is a great strategy to like not do much work, but like still get royalties and fees. So my question is, why aren't more people doing the franchise model for their own businesses? Is it a lack of ignorance, or do you think it's something else?
Well, look, lots of people are doing franchising. It's about 10% of the American economy, right? So there's a lot of franchise business going on. Um, look, I think there's just kind of a misconception. People don't know where to start. And what I want to say is that I offer a free 15-minute chat. Anyone that talks to me, I promise to let them know. The other thing that I'd say is a misconception of my industry, Cosmos, is that people think that you need millions of dollars to start these things. I'm not saying that every business is inexpensive, but let's say I'm here in Houston, Texas, and you're in Florida. We have a lot of mosquitoes. I know it's not very glamorous, but if you want to start a mosquito spraying business that's non-brick and mortar, that's very high margin, right? You could start that for about $125,000 all in, right? That's possible. So there are different ways to do the business.
So, Adam, what you mentioned is like one of the misconceptions that people have. Like to start a franchise, like they think of like McDonald's, like you have to have a
Yep,
lot of investment capital to start it.
yep.
But like obviously you can do it for much less, but you have to have the knowledge. So, from the for the sake of the viewership, like where in addition to you, where do they start going about looking for knowledge on how to transform their businesses into like a franchise model, or like whatever product or service they have, they can turn into a model where they get royalties and fees?
Okay, so look, I'm not in the business of allowing people to actually become a franchisor themselves, right? Become the next McDonald's of their existing business. That's really a hard road to go down. It's very expensive to find franchisees. I'm more in the business for people that are looking to enter business or already have an existing business that they want to have some sort of an add-on business. That's the business that I'm in, where you're going ahead and you're buying into a business. And so it's the franchisor that pays that you're paying, you're going to actually be paying royalty fees and franchise fees too.
Mm-hmm. So, Adam, like a lot of people, they want to leave corporate America and like
Yeah.
start their own business, but a lot of times they feel stuck in their high-paying job and or like in their job over there. So, from your perspective, if somebody wants to attain financial independence and leave, whether it's corporate America or their blue-collar job, how should they go about doing so?
So again, free 15-minute chat. I'd say one of my best areas of people that I help are people that are in corporate America and they're tired of making someone else rich. And so the whole idea is maybe they're not able to go ahead and to quit their job, but maybe their kids are in their teens and their spouse is able to put full time into the business, or they have time enough to manage a business that's friendly towards semi-absentee ownership. And so the whole idea is that if I mean that's how I help them, right? I help them to find an exit plan from corporate America.
Yeah, obviously, like a lot of people, like now look at it like the way the business world worked in the 20th century is not how it is in the 21st with advancements in technology, AI, and everything. So people do not have financial security like they used to. So having their own business is completely essential. So people like yourself who are helping consulting, like that's a great boon to a lot of people, you know?
I love helping people, right? Because if you think about it, if you are in the workforce, if you're in the workforce for yourself, you spend so many hours per week working, right? Why not make it enjoyable and make it something that you can grow professionally and grow your bank account?
Mhm. So, Adam, what was your greatest like revelation or insight you had when it came to like the franchise industry and just like in your entire career, entrepreneurial career about like business in general? What revelation do you think you had like that basically changed the way you saw everything?
So I would say I would argue that I had a revelation with franchising from the get-go. I fell in love with franchising when I first entered in 2010. I didn't know this thing existed, right? I had come back to the United States. I lived in Europe for 7 years, right? I went to school at Cal, at Berkeley for my MBA, and just kind of wasn't sure what my life would be like from a professional perspective. Yes, I had real estate investments. And when I really got to know the franchising world and realized that, gee, I can be an entrepreneur and it could be my own business, but I can have an amazing franchisor that's there to kind of help me to go through the hard times and have a network of other brothers and sisters in arms in other markets that can kind of also help me as well. That was a powerful feeling.
So, in from your perspective, what do you think are the qualities that somebody needs in order to become an entrepreneur and especially thrive in a way that they can do a franchise model for their own business? Like, what do you think are the mindset requirements that a person needs in order to be successful in this field?
So look, I think that the entrepreneurship, it's really a broad term, right? There are different types of entrepreneurs. If you're an entrepreneur that can start from scratch, that's a different skill set. In the E Myth by Gerber, he talks about how if you're starting something without the right process, then you have to wear many different hats. And so if you're starting a franchise business, the disadvantage is you have to pay franchise and royalty fees, Cosmos. But the good news is that you're actually having a system in place. So it's a different type of person. It's a kind of person that's not afraid to follow a model or process. It's also the kind of person that's networking very well inside of the system that can kind of tweak different processes. And that's the kind of person that's successful.
No, I mean, yeah, like, in my mind, at least, like, you have to have a lot of adaptability and, like, you have to, in your own words, like, open-mindedness, because ultimately, in order to create a lot of money, you have to scale your business, and a lot of people get stuck when it comes to like scaling their business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Adam, like in your entire career, like what was the one of the greatest challenges you faced and regarding like making your company successful? And how did you go about overcoming it?
So look, what I would say is this, that my situation was not because of the business, right? It's because I was actually distracted. I had a personal situation when I first started my franchise brand, and it was just kind of distracting, right? When I first bought in, it just happened by just by accident within a couple months' time, and I just had to make things work. And so what I did is I really relied and leaned on the parent company and other people that were franchisees, and I knew that kind of there was no going back, and I was able to use that because sometimes when people have things happen outside of work, they get distracted, right? I was able to kind of use that as a work became my refuge. And it ended up working out, but it was a really rough go for a few months because of challenges outside of the office.
Yeah. So in your from your own perspective, how would you go about? Because a lot of people when they're starting the business, like they're leaving corporate America, they have to do their business, but they also have to like balance family life and other issues that life throws at them. So from your perspective, how would you go about balancing these worlds in and becoming successful in business?
Well, I mean, every situation is different, right? When it comes to family or things of that sort. So, look, I mean, um, I'm in a situation where, for me, I'm blessed to not have to work as many hours as before. Been doing this for 8.5 years, and my phone's ringing off the hook. And so I'm able to kind of, I think the key is really to, I know of people that you have two options when it comes to your calendar. Your calendar can control you, or you can control your calendar. And I know it sounds quite simple, but I made the choice to go ahead to be the one controlling my calendar and really blocking off times. And look, I read this amazing book, Cosmos, that I love. My daughters are 7, 9, and 13. A huge believer in the book called the Family Board Meeting, where every 90 days or every quarter, just like a CEO, I set up 4 hours with each child and they choose what we do for those 4 hours. And it's just been a game changer about quality time with my kids that they choose. And I love it.
Wow, I mean that yeah, like different people have different ways of having discipline, but having time blocks, I realize in my own personal life, like it does a lot, because you can focus on one thing at a time for that certain period of time. And so I would for those listening in the audience, I would definitely recommend like having like daily planners or having like time blocks like on and just having goal setting, not only like on a daily level, but on a weekly and monthly level as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Adam, one of the things I wanted to ask you, like, because I know you're into like franchising and you're into like the E2 visa and all that. So from the perspective of like the listener, can you tell them a little bit about this E2 visa program that you're involved in?
So, Cosmos, you're talking about the American dream, right? I believe the American dream is still alive and well. Um, Look, people are spending $5 million to enter the United States on a golden visa, right?
Yeah.
There are other visa programs like EB-5s that are very expensive. It takes a long time, right? I'm in the situation where people don't realize this, but franchises is really a great way to get a visa. There's something called an E2 visa. There are over 120 countries that are treaty countries, and the whole value proposition is as follows: if you're investing in the American economy, and the new administration wants people to invest, the U.S. consulate in your country will go ahead and allow you to enter, and they'll allow you to bring your family, and then you can invest in a franchise. And again, we're looking at something that is E2 friendly, a specific franchise brand, but it's about $125,000 or so, or 150,000, right? So you can get in for 125, and this is a kind of visa that is renewable for perpetuity as long as your business is a going concern.
Wow, I mean, this is a very like normally like when people hear of visas, they hear about like student visas or like
Yep,
1B or visas or like work visas and all of that. But this is something that I've not heard about, and it's
yep.
connected to the franchise model, which is actually like very new and interesting to me.
Yep, absolutely. And look, I've had people that are here on H-1B, right? And they're tired of working for that same company and not having options. So they decided to invest in a franchise brand, and they were able to change their status to E2.
I see. And so, Adam, from the perspective of what is your perspective on like America's entrepreneurial immigrant identity and like on immigrants and how they affect the economy and all of that?
I love immigrants. I love entrepreneurial immigrants, right? I think that's the ethos of the United States is part of our national identity. We're built by immigrants, right? And especially people that are entrepreneurial. And my favorite musical is Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton was an immigrant. In one song, the lyric is "Immigrants, they get the job done," right? And I'm such a fan of people that come here. I mean, I really believe that someone that comes, they bring a unique perspective to the United States. I love it.
Yeah, and so Adam, I know like a lot of people are right now feeling like they want to achieve the American dream, right? And obviously, having
Yep.
financial independence is a key factor in that. So, like from your, so my question to you is, what is your perspective on what does the American dream mean to you, and how do you think Americans should go about achieving their own personal American dream?
For me, the American dream is freedom, right? It's not necessarily to not work at all, but to work on my own terms, and to not worry about finances. That's what I think is the American dream. And that's for me, the it's not about not working, it's about working on your own terms. And I encourage my candidates and my friends to create things and to be in a type of situation where they have this work freedom to do what they want when they want to do it.
No, I mean totally. The ability to have freedom and to like live life on your own terms is ultimately
Yep.
what life should be about, because a lot of times like people are working for somebody else's dream. They're going, especially in corporate America, they give all their time and energy to like make another person's dream come true, but
Yep.
sometimes like their entire life goes away in the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Adam, from your perspective, like what do you think is the biggest challenge that people have when it comes to achieving the American dream, and how do you think they can go about overcoming it?
What I think is people talk about, and we're getting very deep here. I really believe we talk about free will, right? But I'm not so sure we have free will, right? I mean, like if I have a really amazing piece of candy in front of me or a milkshake, I know it's not good for me, right? But I'm going to still have some of it because it's just so good, right? Even though it's probably not good for me, this milkshake, right, or this donut hole. So for me, a lot of the idea of success or whatever it is having that discipline, self-discipline to do the things that are especially from a financial perspective that are the right things to do, not to get kind of, how would I put it, to have a situation where you get tempted by that shiny object. Maybe it's cryptocurrency or whatever it is. I mean, the whole idea of getting rich slowly. I think that there's, and also the idea, also, Andrew Tobias wrote a classic book. I don't remember the name anymore, where he talks about it's just the way you make money is by not spending it on things. A penny saved is two pennies earned, right? Just having that discipline is great.
Yeah, the discipline is actually pretty important. But one of the things that I also realize is like for success in business, you also have to have like trust and delegation in order to
Yep.
get the business to grow. But a lot of people, like I've noticed, find it hard to trust other people in case they get betrayed by them. So, like from your perspective, how do business owners go about delegating and like creating trust in order to scale their business?
Well, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I don't mean to give you all these different maxims, right? But it's so true. You have to build a culture. I really truly believe that any sort of business, it's the success is really in others, right? Meaning if you can scale others and build a team, then you're in a great place, right? So to build that trust, I love Brene Brown, and she talks about an acronym about how you're able to create trust as part of your culture. And the acronym is BRAVING, BRAVING, and each one of these things has a specific maxim or word behind it. But I think that the most important for me is the V, which is the vault. That if you're looking for trust in others, then you've got to make sure that everything that they say to you is one of confidentiality.
Okay. No, I mean that's confidentiality is actually a pretty important thing when it comes to like trust. So
Absolutely.
I found your statement very interesting. Culture eats strategy for breakfast because I've heard that
Yes.
for like a number of years back, and like there's this person that was a friend of mine, and he would always say culture eats strategy for breakfast.
I believe that. I mean, look, the perfect example to me is you look at Disney, even now, right? Disney to me is one big. It's a proof that culture matters. The reason why people want to go to Disney World, even now, even though it's expensive and everything else, is because they know they're going to get this amazing experience because of the Disney culture.
hmm No, I mean, true. And Adam, one thing I wanted to ask, connected to American identity, is American identity is also about the pursuit of happiness. So, from
Yep.
your perspective, where you've been so successful in business, ultimately, what do you think ultimately makes people happy? Is it success? Is it achieving a goal, or is it something that is much more deeper?
So I'm glad you brought that question up. I think it's interesting because you're talking about not happiness per se, but the pursuit of happiness, right? So it's the journey of being someplace, right? Not being where you want to be, because people can get complacent. I know that I've actually had challenges whenever I accomplish a goal. I need that next goal to the next mountain to climb, right? And that's where the pursuit comes in.
Yeah, I mean it's so true and relevant, right? Because like no, I've noticed like when people are on a journey, like it's pretty exciting and everything, but once the goal is reached, a lot of people are like, "What's next?"
Yep,
And then like you realize that it was the story or the journey and the process that they were addicted to versus like the end goal. And
yep,
ironically, you reach the end goal, then it's like what else is there to do? So it's kind of like a paradox in a way, you know? Like
absolutely.
you need a goal to in order to like get somewhere, but once you reach it, like what's next?
What's that exactly? Well, I mean, look, Ted Turner said that his dad passed away because he didn't set his goals high enough, right? Meaning he had this amazing billboard company. And by the way, Ted Turner biography is a great book. He read it himself. And he was sick on a bed somehow. And he just talked about how just his dad just it killed him, literally, because he reached his goal, but he didn't set his goals high enough.
Wow. Yeah. Um, I think a lot of people don't set up very high goals because they don't think they can actually achieve it.
Yep.
But a
Yep.
lot of people tend to underestimate themselves. Like we are much more than we think we are.
Well, Tony Robbins said that people tend to overestimate what they can do in 6 months to a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade.
Hmm. I don't. Well, I'm actually curious now. Like, what is your why? What's the motivational factor that guided you that made you so successful in your career? Because a lot of people they don't end up like selling multi-million dollar companies or like being really successful in the franchise model and all of that. So there's something that pushed you like from within. That's a very strong motivator. I'm sure it's nothing related to money.
Well, look, I mean, yes, money is good to have, right? But at the end of the day, for me, what gets me up in the morning is I'm trying to do good in the world, and I have this passion for being true to myself with my unique ability, Cosmos, which is really to connect with people and really to just get to know them and to be empathetic and to relate to them and then on top of that to create successful business people because when it's done right and I connect a potential franchisee with a great brand, then that's an amazing situation to be in because they're successful in a way that they might not have otherwise been without this system and process. One of my favorite parts of my job is actually visiting successful franchisees for grand openings. I love that.
That is awesome, Adam. And Adam, I wanted to ask you about your book. I know you wrote the book, The Franchisee Lifestyle, where you interviewed some people and everything. Can you tell me and the audience a little bit more about this book and the premise of what made you write it?
So the idea behind this book is that the reason why I wrote it is I wanted to dispel some myths about franchising. Things such as it's only about quick service restaurants, that you have to be the one that's the owner operator that is going ahead and flipping burgers in the back. I talked to real franchisees in this, and it's touching on the reason why most people buy franchises, which we touched on earlier, which is they want freedom. And this kind of talks about different industries people might not have thought of and different success stories of people that have built a lifestyle that they can be proud of in the franchising world.
That is amazing, Adam. And Adam, if somebody wanted to connect with you and like get more, they wanted to get consultancy regarding like how to be successful in business and the franchising thing, or they just wanted to ask you a question and connect, how would they go about doing so?
So best way is to, as I mentioned, it's a free 15-minute chat. You can go to franchiseadam.com and book directly there. Alternatively, I have a website that explains what I do and that also has testimonials from candidates and talks a little bit about my industry. And it's called franchisecoach.net. And both of them have calendar links on them.
I would definitely recommend my audience who would be interested in scaling their model in the franchising way to definitely take a look at your at your information, and like they'll definitely have a consultation with you if they're interested, because this is actually very relevant to like scaling a business. And
Absolutely.
and Adam, I'm so glad and grateful that you took the time to come to this podcast and share your knowledge regarding the franchise industry. And I do hope, and what you're doing is really good for the economy. And I do hope that you come back to this show at a later time.
Thank you, Cosmos. It's been a pleasure.
No, thank you. And I want to conclude this episode by letting my fellow extraordinary Americans know that, hey, look, there's an extraordinary within each and every one of us. It's our duty to awaken it and unleash it. Until next time, bye for now. Hey, everyone. Thank you for watching Extraordinary America. If you like what you see, please do subscribe to our podcast and share it with others. Remember that the best investment that you can make in your lifetime is in your own financial education, for it is knowledge that truly sets us free. Also, remember that inflation is diluting your purchasing power, which in turn increases financial bondage. The practical thing to do is to protect the loss of your purchasing power and invest in precious metals or the right cryptocurrencies. Lastly, never forget that you are an extraordinary American. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.